and welcome to Trojans Live, presented by Monster Energy on AM 790 KABC and across the USC Trojans Media Network. I'm Keely Orr, filling in for Jordan Moore tonight. He's covering men's basketball soon in 2 hours. I'm joined by the All-American Sean Cody for tonight's episode, and we're joined by the head coach, Lincoln Riley. Coach, thanks so much for spending time for us. I know there's a lot going on right now, so we appreciate it.
Of course.
The USC head coach interview is presented by iTrust Capital, the official crypto platform of the USC Trojans. Coach, obviously, like I said, a lot has transpired in the last 48 hours. Sean Nua, Brian Odom are elevated. What did you see from them in order to give them this co-defensive opportunity?
Yeah, I think they've done a great job with their guys. And anytime you have a situation like this, you start to look at, okay, you know, who would be the next man up, really, and just in the same way that you would for an injured player or anything like that. And I think they both have great experience, coaching their positions. They both have had great experience being in other really good institutions, been in different situations, and just felt like they have a good grasp on the pulse of our guys, and felt like just the pairing of those two would be exactly what we needed to obviously get a chance to go up here and get a win at Oregon this weekend.
Coach, always tough with a midseason change like this. What are you hoping to see? What are you hoping if sparks in the defense in these last couple of games that can really help them out?
Yeah, we just playing more consistent. I think we put ourselves throughout the season in some positions to make plays, to finish drives, to finish games, and then that's when you have to capitalize, like especially against good teams. We've had we're this will be game 8 of a pretty tough stretch here of great competition week in and week out, and we've been agonizingly close. I mean, we're it's like a gut punch right now. I mean, we're 2 snaps of football away from being undefeated in this conference, and that is, it's obviously it's tough to swallow on one hand, and then the second piece of it is, though, but you're only 2 snaps away. You're that close to winning these games and to finishing these games off, and this team is, certainly capable of doing that here in the last couple of weeks in the season. And so certainly hoping that and expecting that those guys will do a great job, that our defense will rise up to the occasion and play a little bit more consistent here this Saturday.
We all know the reputation that Taylor Mays has on the field, but I don't think fans are used to him in the coaching role. What have you seen from him behind the scenes that gave you confidence that he would do well in this on-the-field role?
Yeah, Taylor's been, really just a great addition to our staff. Was here the day we came, and really just had that attitude of, what can I do to help the program? And it was no job too big, no job too small. Was here to learn, has been, just very invested in everything we've done really from day one. And it's just been impressive to watch, his climb. It's no surprise getting to know him over the last, close to 2 years now that he was the player that he was. You see it in his dedication, his passion, his work ethic. He's learned a lot here in the last couple of years, and I think has a good pulse of our guys. I think our guys respect him, certainly, and what he did here, what he's done on the field. And I think just that combination, made it right to give him this opportunity. And I think he'll take it and run with it, and I think the guys will respond and play very well.
Coach, after the game, you've talked about it now. I think I've heard you reference it a couple times about building these scars, right? And the lessons you have to kind of go through to get to the level of football that you want to get, and kind of talk through that a little bit. I know some people hear that and you're like, losses you don't want those things to happen, but some of these lessons are hard in football, and you have to go through them and fight through those moments to build that character in those moments that you can. When you see the future, you can see, all right, we've been through these moments, that we're ready to battle, we're battle tested, we can push on.
Oh, for sure. I mean, listen, greatness is typically on the other side of a door that most people aren't willing to go through. Most people aren't willing to persevere through the difficult times, but it does. It gets you more ready for it. There's no question. I've kind of been through this at other places, and that's just. I have
too. I don't know if you know, I went 0-16 in the NFL. I had some scars from losing football
That's
games.
A lot of scars.
Yeah. Too many.
Yes, but no, it's. I think when you do take a step back and look at the overall evolution of the program, a lot of times it's you don't want it, right? You want just the dream to come in and win them all right from the very beginning, and go win the national championship your first couple of years. Like everybody, of course, everybody would love that, but that's not always reality. And from where this was when we took it over, from where we want it to be. I mean, obviously we've made a ton of progress. There's no question about it. But you do have to go through some of this. You are going to have tough stretches of games. You're going to have a loss. You're going to have, a game where you don't play well. And as the program elevates, and you think about, like, I think about all the young guys in our program right now that are contributing, right? All the young guys that we recruited that are here, that are being developed, kind of that real first class. Like, these guys are all getting a front row seat, whether they're playing or not, into, what it really takes. Yeah. And you start to build that recognition within the program, and then all of a sudden you look up here in a couple of years and all of these guys have been through it, and they've all seen it, and they've all learned from it, and they're more ready. When you build it like we built it to try to give ourselves a chance to have success early, and we've done that. I mean, we were a quarter away from the playoff last year. We still have a lot of things to play for this year, and again, we've done some good things. We've been agonizingly close to the things that we haven't accomplished, but we've been right there. Like, we have been right there both years, and that is a tremendous start. It's not where we want to end. It's not where it's going to end. There's a lot of really, really bright times ahead for everyone that cares about USC football. But you have to embrace the process. You have to learn through these experiences. We will certainly be better for it. And even, zooming back in, I want this team to be better for it. We've went through a lot here the last few weeks. Like, let's be better from it. Let's learn from it. Let's let it galvanize us and really go be at our best these last couple of weeks.
Building off of that, I feel like this season has highlighted just how small the margin of error is, especially in a conference like the Pac-12 that's so good this season. As a competitor, how do you handle that when the margin is so small?
Well, it's fun. I mean, it's fun, playing other good teams, other good players, other good staffs. I mean, the competitor in you loves the competition, and that part's been great. But yeah, when you play, like watch NFL football, right? How many NFL games come down to the end, come down to a 2-minute drill or a special teams play? I mean, it's an incredibly high percentage because there is parity, there is really good competition, and that's, this league has had a little bit of that this year, and it's a fantastic league. We've had a chance to obviously win every single game that we've been in, and that's, I think going forward with all that's changing in college football, I think there's going to continue to be a lot of parity and a lot of great opportunities that go along with it. So yeah, you got to embrace it, and you can't just embrace it when it goes well for you. Like, okay, if Eric Gentry's hand goes a quarter of an inch higher and we block that field goal against Utah, does that all of a sudden change, your motivation to come out and work and get better and win the next week? It's you can't let these one play here or there change your mindset, your commitment level to this program, yourself at getting better, us as coaches. You got to continue along the journey, and you got to continue to keep swinging and keep battling. And in my history, the teams that do that, the people that do that, find a way to be there in the end and find a way to get better from it.
Last one for me from last week, Coach. A tough loss, and you mentioned the plays that you a couple plays here and there, and that could have maybe sparked that thing. What were the turning points in that game where you thought, if we get this thing right here or this thing right here, this might turn the right direction for us?
Oh, there was the three that stick out to me would be the 3rd and 15 scramble, that we had a chance to sack the quarterback and gets out, and we had two defensive players match on one player, which you can't do, and left the guy in the back of the end zone. They made a tremendous play on a pretty risky throw. Obviously, the sequence before half, right? The fumble in the 2-minute drill, and then obviously giving up the touchdown there. And then, unquestionably, the biggest play of the game was the holding call that took a touchdown off the board. And it's just, it's kind of been that kind of year. It's, I think, 3 out of 4 games we've had a touchdown taken back, by penalty, and we've, they've all been, not egregious calls. Some of those that are, those 50-50, maybe a little bit less that they get called, and sometimes they do. And we, if a few of the games we've been able to overcome that, and a couple obviously we haven't been good enough to. But that's, yeah, I mean, that game was a one-play game. I mean, it was one play, tipping the scales one way or another, and two good teams going at it, and a lot of times that's how those are going to finish. But obviously frustrating that we didn't make that play to push it over the edge.
We'll come back and look ahead at Oregon. Monster Energy is the official energy drink of USC. Unleash the Beast. And Trojans Live is sponsored by Pechongo Resort Casino, proud partner of USC football. Like I said, we'll be back with the head coach to preview USC's matchup against Oregon next on Trojans Live. Fight on, Trojans, and fly on with ONT. Ontario International Airport is a proud sponsor of our USC Trojans. Visit SoCalSoEasy.com to book your journey through ONT today. We're back here on Trojans Live with the head coach, Lincoln Riley. I'm Keely Orr, filling in for Jordan Moore with the All-American Sean Cody. We're talking about Oregon, the matchup on Saturday. Coach, when you've been scouting the Ducks, what have you seen so far off of film?
It's a good football team. They've gotten some momentum here this part of the year. They've obviously led by quarterback. Obviously, Bo's played, at a high level for him. I think he's got now more starts than anybody in the history of college football. I think he broke the record here, I think, two games ago.
Yeah.
So I recruited Bo a little bit out of high school and got to know him, and he's a neat kid. It's been good to see, this second part of his journey going well, and he's done a good job. They've got some really good skill sets around them, a couple of really good backs, a couple of really good receivers, and have done a nice job offensively. Defensively, they're playing well, certainly are. I mean, they've got some really talented players at all three levels of the defense and have done a nice job. So, yeah, complete team, really good football team. They obviously lost a tough one up there at Washington, but other than that, have played really well, and been impressive to watch them on tape.
Coach, have you been up to Autzen before?
No, first time.
First trip to Austin. What do you expect to see? Obviously, I played there a few times. Crazy rowdy house, but when it's your first time going in there, what are you calling up other coaches? Like, all right, what are we going to expect?
Yeah, we've got a few guys on our staff, obviously that have coached there, and I know a lot of people that have, and so yeah, I mean, I enjoy these, man. I love great road atmospheres. I know it'll be a fun atmosphere there Saturday night. So yeah, looking forward to it. I think this is one of the fun things about being here at USC and being in a new league is these different opportunities that it creates. And yeah, and I think for honestly for our situation right now, to be at a point where you got to go bond together and go into a tough road atmosphere, hostile environment, I think fits us right now and fits the situation.
When it comes to a quarterback like Bo, when you have scouted him and recruited him, do you kind of check up on your projection and how that compares? Like, did you expect what we're seeing from Bo right now?
Yeah, I mean, you never know the twists and turns,
Sure.
that the guy's career is going to take, and I think Bo's a great example of, it's so important for quarterbacks and all players, to find the right fit, and he certainly has found the right fit there and has done a really good job, and he kind of had an up and down career, but I mean, he's a great example. We were talking about before with the team, right? He took his lumps at Auburn.
Yep.
He got his scars, right, a little bit, and now, all that experience that he's been through, is certainly paying off, and he's played at a high level. So yeah, I mean, it's getting to see his skill set up close in high school and getting to know him a little bit. I'm not surprised that he's having the kind of year and kind of career that he's had here, especially the last 2 years.
Yeah, tremendous at the quarterback position, the Ducks are. But when I turn on the film, I notice those running backs, Bucky Irving and Jordan James, those guys really pop. And I really think that they're the driving force when I watch it behind, because I'm like, hey, man, you got to stop those guys. Obviously, Bo Nix, talented quarterback, but I'd be focusing on those running backs. How do you slow those guys down?
Yeah, no question. And they do a good job. Using tempo, using several different run schemes to get those guys the ball, and they're different. They've got different skill sets, but they're both explosive players. They've both been very productive. They both break a lot of tackles, and especially Irving. I mean, he's a guy that you gotta do a good job really getting him to the ground. Other people getting to the party.
Yeah, not a big guy either. Too. It's kind of gets hidden in there.
He does. He's got great contact balance and a really good feel for what they're doing schematically. So yeah, like I said, they've got good players, a good scheme, a good leader there in Bo, who kind of leads the thing, and certainly have made life difficult for the opposing defenses.
As far as USC's run game, I thought Austin Jones did a great job, averaging 11.5 yards per carry on Saturday. What do you take from Saturday's game into Autzen?
Yeah, I mean the positives. I mean, yeah, I think the run game was certainly a huge positive. We ran the ball well. Austin ran well. Darwin came in and had a great couple play series there for us. I thought the line against a really talented Washington front. I thought our offensive line did a really nice job, and we've taken some real positive steps there in the last few weeks. So excited about that. Once again, made some plays on special teams. Deuce coming in and blocking that punt was a huge play in the game. Huge play in the game. And so there was still a lot of bright spots special teams wise that certainly showed up as well. So, I mean, listen, when you're a play away from beating a top 5 team, you did a lot of good things, and there's a lot to build on, and there's a lot of excitement, and we got to go play a couple plays better this weekend.
Coach, when you watch Oregon defensively, haven't been really talked about as a great defense, but every week you look up and you're holding teams under 20 points and playing well. What do you see from them defensively?
Yeah, they've got some talented players at all 3 levels. They're a pretty experienced defense when you look at the age of the guys that are playing, and yeah, they've done a nice job. They really have. They've done a pretty good job against the run, against the majority of people that they've played. They've got a couple of good players in the back end. A couple corners are playing well. They've got a kid as a free safety that we played against at Fresno State last year. That's a very good player. That's been a great addition for them. They're a big front. They're big. They've got a lot of size. They've got a little bit of length there, and so yeah, it's a talented group. They, like other good defenses, force you to go execute, force you to make plays, force you to earn it, and that'll be that type of game.
Well, we can't wait to see how the Trojans respond in Eugene. Kickoff is at 7:30 on Fox, so be sure to tune in. The Trojan Tailgate Show starts at 5:30, so tune in on the radio as well. Don't wait until game time to plan for retirement. Open your free iTrust Capital account today and get your crypto IRA. iTrust Capital is the official cryptocurrency platform of the USC Trojans. Coach, you mentioned the offensive line play. We got one of them coming up next. Veteran captain Justin Dedich is next on Trojans Live.